All right, all right, all right. How's everybody doing this day? We're excited you are on the Thursday night fireside chat. And as you can tell from the intro, we don't have any pretty much agenda that we have to worry about. And so, as I think about today and all the things that are happening, Robert, I was just in a conversation on my last podcast, and it was really weird because it was one of those where in the last week or two, everything that I've been talking about keeps coming back to the same thing. And it's like, and then he just spent the whole time talking about, that same deal. And so, let's see, this says, looks like the stream was deleted on Facebook. Oh no. Okay. So anyways, so one of the things is the thing that's been coming up is, last week I talked to a lady, her name was Donna, and she's been married for 41 years. So she was telling me how, I was pretty interested in, so how do you go for 41 years and avoid all the conflict and everything else that people do and then still be okay? And she says one of the things that they've done over time in their marriage is, first, she said, we try to make sure that we don't ever say anything intentionally that would hurt the other person. I said, okay, well, that makes good sense. I don't want to do that either. Then the second thing she said was, whenever there's a conflict, instead of us being like together like this across a kitchen table where we're actually, talking, we sit side by side like in a booth style. And then whatever the issue is that we're having, we put that across from us, and then together we solve the problem. I'm like, but, for me, like, if I'm mad at my wife, I don't want to sit next to her. So I was cracking up about that. And then today it's the same thing. He was talking about, he was married for 30 years. And the guy today was saying how he had just got into this tremendous amount of debt, like twice as much as they make annually. And him and his wife decided to get together and tackle it together. And his marriage for the last, I guess, 20 years now has just been phenomenal because they tackle stuff together and, money issues and that kind of stuff. And so, And so, my wife has been telling me, like, you need to go do this and go do that and get on out of his house right now. No, we're doing fine. It was just a crack up of the things she's telling me that we need to do together. And I said, yeah, we do. And she's like, but this, and this, and this. And so now all of a sudden everybody's telling me about marriage and how to keep my marriage alive. And it seems like a lot of us don't have, our kids are grown. And so they got their own, lives to kind of live. And so it's just running around. So I don't know about you, but that's kind of what's been happening. And then we talked a lot about money and finances and what it means to be in alignment. Because there's so many people who say, hey, how do you identify? Well, I am this great dad. And then you ask them, well, when's the last, so what do you kind of things you do with your kids? And you find out, I haven't seen my kids in 2.5 months already because I'm working so hard. And those things are not in alignment at all. So,
did I ever tell you, Dr. Brian, my story about how I got together with my wife?
No, I would love to. Please share with us. I'd love to hear that.
Since we seem to be on this topic.
Yeah.
Marriage, right?
Yeah. That's why we're here. This would be perfect. Can't wait to hear it. Yes.
Yeah. So, interesting story. We're going to be married. Is it 13 years this year? Something like that.
Okay.
We're married in 2013, so I just got to do the math. So this is what's kind of funny. My wife, she grew up in a neighborhood that my best friend had grown up in before he moved into my neighborhood as kids, and that's how we became best friends.
Okay.
But we went to the same grammar school. We went to the same high school. But I never hung out with her. I didn't really know her at all. She was only a year behind me in school.
Okay.
And so fast forward, of course, many, many years, I'm with my friend and he says, oh, hey, do you remember, he says, Eileen. And I was like, yeah, I remember the name. And I said, I didn't really remember her. So at that time I wasn't married. I had my shopping list of what the person I'm going to be marrying to needs to have this and this and not this and this and this and this, right? So we have
Mhm.
our
The
shopping.
list of everything that is the perfect man, right?
Right. I don't want to. I don't want to marry somebody who's already been married. I don't want somebody who has a kid. I don't want baggage. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want to. It'd be great that if I married somebody who I knew, maybe from school or something, just because going on a date and then you have to like regurgitate the same. Hi, this is who I am. This is what I
Mhm,
do right now. So anyway, so my friend says, "Hey, you remember Eileen?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember the name." So he shows me a picture of her, and I swear, this flash went through my head and it said, I date her. Now, at the time, she was married. She had a kid. So obviously that was not something that was going to happen. Then a while later, I don't know if it was like a year or so later, I don't know how she came up in conversation, but she did again because my
mhm.
friend brought it up and he's like, "Oh yeah, Eileen, yeah, she got divorced."
Ah,
I'm
okay.
like, "Okay, okay." And for whatever reason, and again, call it divine intervention, I don't know, there was this, if you wanna call it an attraction,
Mhm.
but I connection really is the best word. So, in December of 2012, me and my friend were having dinner at our favorite Mexican restaurant, and I don't know how her name came up again, but it did, and I was just like, "Stop it. Stop dinner. Stop.
Mhm.
I need to be Facebook friends with her right now. I need to contact her right now." So,
Oh,
I sent
that's
her a friend request. A few days later, I was like, maybe it was the day before or the day of Christmas, and she accepted my friend request. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I have to talk with her. So I send her a message. Hey, Eileen, thanks for the friend request. And at that time she was living in Idaho and I was in LA. And I said, the next time you're in LA, let me know and maybe we can get together and just catch up on things. And I send this message and I'm thinking, oh, what are you doing? You never hung out with her. You have nothing in common. What are you gonna talk about? So I thought, oh, that was a dumb message. But she responded and we started to talk. And by the end of the year, by the end of December, I already knew she was the one.
you knew.
So
Wow. Okay.
throw out that shopping list, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, it was we I made a vision board.
Okay. With her on it or with pictures of
Her
her?
on it. Right. I have,
Uh-oh.
relationship, finances, career, right? So
Uh-huh.
relationship. So I pull off pictures from her Facebook page and put it on my
I
vision
love it.
board. And but I just like it was just
Uh-huh.
one of those weird things. So then, fast forward to February 2013, I invited her to come out because at that, I was living in here in Sedona. I said, "Come on out to Sedona and visit." And at first she said, "No, no, I don't know, I'm uncomfortable with that." But then she's decided to. So on February 1st of 2013, she came out. She flew up to the Flagstaff airport, and we'd been talking and FaceTiming and stuff. But I mean, I literally had not seen her since high school. And this is like, what, 30 years later? I think so.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I said, great. So she flies into Flagstaff. I drive up to pick her up and I have one of those signs like the drivers do with her name
Did
on
you
it,
really? Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
but I put her first name and my last name.
Oh no, you didn't. You knew. I guess she's knowing now too. It worked, right?
Now, stepping out on a ledge there a little bit there, Dr.
Yeah.
Right? So she gets off the plane, and of course, and I'm holding a camera because I wanted to get her expression.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She gets off the plane. It's a small airport anyway,
Yeah.
but
It's a real
so
I've
she
been
gets
there,
off.
yeah. So it's
We see each other, we hug for the first time, we kiss for the first time, and we just stood there and we hugged
oh, that's
for
so cool.
forever. And the airport was empty, and we're still standing there hugging.
Oh,
And
that's
so we knew.
uh,
So this was like technically our first official date.
and you already got her married to you got your last name on the card and
And I got her.
oh, that is so I mean, I'm just thinking like not only you've assumed that she's gonna take your last name on too, if you do
Right,
get
right,
married.
right. That's exactly. So on our first date, we got engaged and I already had a ring.
Oh, so you wasn't you were ready. You was like, no, we're getting old in these days. We're not going to be spending no more time.
It's like I
We're just,
knew it. We just knew. And so on February 1st of every year, we celebrate our first date / engagement day.
oh, that is so cool. Well, yeah, such a special day. So it's kind of like You Got Mail. And for probably a lot of folks that are listening with our age, don't even remember the You Got Mail movie. But it sounds like you were able to have a lot of conversation and become really good friends before you actually had that meeting time.
Yeah,
Which,
it's just one of those things. I mean, come on, first date, get engaged. That August, we got married, and we've been married ever since. And what's really interesting is that I was still working at Fox Studios in LA. I had my home in Sedona. I was working in LA. She was still living in Idaho. She had a kid who was going to school. The reason why she went to Idaho is because her ex was out there, and her kid wanted to have a relationship with her dad.
mm,
So um, you know, my wife said, "Well, I'm not going to move until my kid graduates high school."
oh, okay,
So
okay.
so the first 7 years of our marriage, we didn't live together. She was in Idaho and I was in, Sedona and LA, and we would just make trips to see each other. So that's another interesting factor that just wasn't your
Yeah.
standard marriage. It's funny, like people would joke, "Oh, it's the best marriage ever." You just go and you see her and it's all bliss. It's like, well, that's not a relationship. I mean, that,
No, that's
you know,
that's playing pretend on that one.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. So she had a son that obviously was graduating. How did
Yeah.
he receive you, as this new stepdad? Mom married this guy. I'm already,
Right.
uh, you know,
Well, I have to say that he was very, very accepting.
great.
Now, he and my wife, they're very close.
Okay.
So I never really had the opportunity to like be the official stepdad. I kind of
Hmm.
didn't really fit into that role. And I'm a little bit, I was a little bit disappointed because I really wanted to have that experience, but
Hmm.
it just didn't work out that way. But it's okay because
Yeah.
they had their relationship. They're really super close. And that's fine. And we don't. There's no animosity. There's no like, I hate you. You're not my dad. Blah blah.
Yeah.
There's none of that, which is great. And I'm very supportive of everything that he does, and vice versa. So, it's fine. It's fine.
Now, did he have a good relationship with his own father as well, or he was kind of out of the picture? How did that?
Um, yeah, I mean, the reason why they got divorced is because the dad just didn't show up.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's like, oh, I'm going to hang out in my man cave. Well, I need you to help. It's like, no,
Mm.
I'm going to do my own thing. And he was into fly fishing, and he says to Eileen, learn how to tie flies for me.
Oh
So I
gosh.
can go, that's that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
Okay.
it's funny because my wife, she did actually learn how to tie flies, and then she got into fly fishing, and she is an avid fly fisher.
Oh, is she really?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. So, she'll go and see her friends in Idaho, and Idaho is tons of places to go fishing out there,
Yeah.
or Oregon or wherever. So
Yeah.
pretty
Now,
interesting.
is there places in Sedona, Flagstaff area where there's, some rivers or something? I mean, Arizona seems pretty dry every time I
Well, I
go.
mean, there's Oak Creek, but it's not a river. It really is
Yeah.
a creek. And
Yeah.
so it's technical. It's very
Okay.
technical to fly fish there. It's I wish it was like a river runs through it, but it's not.
No, no, not
You know,
even close. No,
we
it's
just
a
have we
desert
have
runs through
yeah,
it.
a creek runs through it, and that's about all you're gonna get.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, so that what a cool story. I mean, and then so I would love to kind of hear, how do you have a long distance relationship? You're married. This is your wife. You guys still have careers.
Yeah.
You did this later in life, so it wasn't like, you're trying to build a family and that kind of stuff. I mean,
Right.
I mean, I guess like, does your identity go, I just can't wait to get to my wife every week? Or, is there some sadness? I mean, how does that, I can't imagine for 7 years trying to figure out did you get to go every week or? I mean,
It was maybe once a month. Sometimes there were 2 or 3 months where we weren't able
oh,
to see each
really?
other.
Okay.
I would fly out to
FaceTime
Idaho.
though by then. Yeah, there's FaceTime or some kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we would talk every day, we'd FaceTime and that kind of thing. So there was always a connection,
Mhm.
which, but obviously to be there in person,
Oh God, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
feel, the other person's energy and be, connected that way. Yeah, it was tough and it was an adjustment. Now we knew what we were going to do going in.
Mhm.
I mean, so that that was part of it. But again, it wasn't, it wasn't easy. It was a challenge. It was a challenge. And even when she finally moved here to Sedona, that was an adjustment too, to actually have somebody in your house 24/7, and I got all my stuff, so I had to get rid of stuff so she can bring some of her
I was
stuff
getting ready to
in.
say because it's her moving into your house and now it's not your house anymore. It's
Right.
her house.
That's right.
And so,
Yeah.
you got to get rid of. I'm just thinking like the personal things. Like my wife is still throwing stuff out that I sneak in the house, and and I can imagine adjustment for her. Now, did her son after he graduates stay up in Idaho and go to school in Idaho, or did he come down with you guys, or how did
Um,
that work?
so he lives in LA,
Okay,
because Eileen's parents live out there. He went to Cal State University, Northridge,
okay,
graduated with a graphics art degree. No
okay.
jobs
Or
available,
okay.
which I think is a struggle for a lot of people. So right now he's working at there's a place called, it's like Kid Space, where kids come
Yeah,
in and
yeah.
that kind of thing. So which it's fine. But obviously he wants to do graphic arts and animation and that kind of thing. It's just in Hollywood, right? In LA, that's the place to be. But there's just the jobs aren't there.
Well, let me tell you what my son decided to do. So my son got a degree in graphic design. Then he started working for a couple different firms and doing some of their logo work, design work, the stuff that graphic design does. And he says, "No, this is not what I want to do with my life. I want to work for Pixar."
Ah,
And he said, "I don't know how I'm gonna get in. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna work for Pixar." So he moved up to Northern California because Pixar's in Oakland area,
mm,
and he went and he applied that kind of stuff, and then found out there was a job in the bookstore at Pixar, the store where when people do tours and that kind of stuff, and they sell
sure.
all the trinkets and that kind of stuff. And so he started working. He got hired in the bookstore. When you are an employee of Pixar, you can take classes, any classes you want
Oh,
that they offer for all the rest of their artists and their
oh,
designers and everything else, because they bring people in to do classes, and then they have their own Pixar university where you can go in. So he would stay like every day and go to a class. But what that did is he got to meet and learn everybody who works there. And the way that Steve Jobs had set it up is you go down this big corridor where they have all their like the bathrooms, the cafeterias, the food, all they can all have access to it. And then on the right side of the facility is all of the artists and drawers and animators and all that kind of stuff. Then
oh,
there's a big building on the left side, which is all the technology, so all the drives and the servers and all the stuff that has to render. And then the back of the building is all of the, I don't know. You might have even been there. You don't know what I'm talking about, but that's where they do all the voiceovers. Is in the
oh,
back, and you have all the artists where they've all signed. Well, because Steve Jobs said we're not going to put any bathrooms or any cafeterias or any way to furniture or anything on these wings. Everybody has to come to the center. So the right brain and the left brain would have to come and meet with each other if they were
oh,
going to be able to do work. And so, but the store is right in the center of left brain, right brain. And so, like, kind of in the middle of that. So he's meeting everybody. He knows all the directors. He knows all the, every time, a famous artist comes in to do a voiceover, like Tim Allen or anybody's doing Toy Story, something like that. He's in there doing it. I think his first movie was The Incredibles was the one
oh,
that
sure.
he got to be a part of. And he just started. They started loving him. They started loving his work. They loved what he did. Started learning storyboarding and stuff. And now he's like one of the top people that does Pixar University, and so and then he gets
Oh,
loaned out to Disney all the time. He just did some artwork for Disney Paris, and so he took his kids out to Disney Paris, and so he will never leave Pixar because that was his dream. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he did. But for somebody like your son who's like working at the kids' place, my son's just like, no, I'm getting in. This is how I'm going to do it and figure it out. And I've seen some people at Disney that do some of the same thing. It's like, I'm going to get a job where I can just be around enough where I'm going to start creating relationships and so it's just a really
yeah,
cool way of him being able to move up, and he's made a life for himself, up in Northern California doing Pixar and drawing every day and he does voiceovers for some of their shorts and
yeah.
it's just kind of cool that I was thinking of that though with the Secret of My Success movie with Michael J. Fox back in the day.
Right. Yeah,
He
that's
kind of
right.
just started in the mailroom or whatever. So
That's
yeah, there's
brilliant.
still hope.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant idea. I'm going to talk to them about that, and, and say, are there any other positions, like working in a bookstore or maybe working in the cafeteria or we're doing something where at least you're in the environment.
You're in the environment. You're in the yeah. I even connect him to my son if you want. If he wants to go get a tour or whatever, Pixar, and because
Huh.
he's like,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, he'd
Oh
love
my
it, I'm sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah. So Sedona, you're married. You now 13 years. Your house is now her house, and you got your little man cave and your little corner in the house that
Yep.
you get to do stuff. What do you guys do? I mean, like, is she still working in corporate and stuff? I mean, she moved from Idaho down to Sedona, so are you guys just living the life as almost semi-retired and
Well, not quite. But the thing is that, like, I love what I do and I enjoy, working. I don't look at saying I'm going to retire and not work. Even if
yeah,
I
yeah,
quote unquote retire, I'm going to work. And she's the same way.
yeah.
Her profession, she was an occupational therapist, so she did OT in
Okay,
Idaho. Now she works from home. Uh, when when I bought the house, I have guest quarters. They're attached to the house, but separate entrance. You have your own kitchen
cool.
and bathroom and everything. So, and I used to
Yeah,
rent it out and have renters here because since I was in LA a lot, at least there was somebody here
yeah.
at the property. So we decided, you know what? Let's just turn that into your studio.
Okay,
And she did. So she doesn't do OT. What she does now is she's a craniosacral therapist, and she also is a Reiki master, and she also does massage.
okay,
Craniosacral therapy, though, is her main thing. And clients now come to the house, go to her studio, and she's booked. I mean, she is booked. She is so busy. I look at her calendar, and it's like she has to block out a day just to take a day off.
hmm
But that, I mean, I'm really proud of her because that's just a testament to the success of building a business. Because she really didn't have any ties in Sedona. She came to Sedona when she moved here. She went to Sedona Massage to get trained and get certified as a massage therapist. But craniosacral therapy really was her thing. So she still works. There's one of those high end spas out here in Sedona. She works, I think, just maybe 2 days a week there. Rest of the time, she's running her own business.
Oh man, that is so cool. Yeah, I guess I want to talk about retirement here in a second, but I would love to even talk about you guys are both working from home for
Yeah,
most of the time.
yeah,
And I do the same thing. So my wife and I are home together all the time. I love it. I don't ever want to go work at a place where I got to drive to and do
yeah.
stuff all day.
I hear you.
Has that enhanced your relationship? Has that made it like, this is the coolest thing? We have lunch together or we do stuff my wife's pretty busy. She has an embroidery business
Mm.
and it's down. I mean, she's taken over our whole basement. First I had an office down there and then we had a TV room. Now I don't have an office no more. We don't almost have a TV room. She just keeps adding machines and she's really busy. But there's no time in the day that I can't just rock down there or talk to her or do stuff with her. I mean, how does that work for you guys?
Well, now when she has clients, I do
Yeah,
not,
yeah, which is
yeah,
lunch. Yeah,
obviously, and
yeah.
sometimes it's all day.
Oh
Like,
wow. Okay.
she will take a lunch break, she'll come into the house and make something, but, I'm working in my studio, I'm editing, doing my audiobook coaching for authors, or I'm working on my music, or recently, I had a gig, where I was hired to do sound design and score for a movie.
Oh
And
wow.
that was
Okay.
so that was, that, and so I get buried into my work. Like, we get up at the same time. We get up at 6 o'clock. I make coffee for her. We have our coffee, make breakfast, and then, you know, I would say sometimes it's 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm still in my PJs, and I just come to the studio and I just go right to work.
That's so cool. Though. But then when day's over, you guys get back together and
Yeah,
hang out. And
sometimes, she'll say, you know, uh, let's go. There's a Mexican restaurant we like called Javelina Cantina.
Mhm,
And so she'll say, let's go to Javelina, hit up happy hour. And it's like, great. So we do these things, where we'll go out, or I'll say, hey, Eileen, let's go to, let's go get pizza down in Cottonwood or whatever.
mhm.
And so, yeah, we do go out and do our thing. But, yeah, it's funny. We're independent people in a sense. And this is
Mhm.
the interesting thing. Like, for those 7 years where we weren't living together, like, I was going through a thing where, like, I don't even know why she even married me. Like, she doesn't even need me. She
Yeah.
doesn't need me. What's my purpose of even being, if
Mhm.
I died tomorrow, she'll can carry on with, without even missing a step. What
Yeah.
does she need me for?
Yeah.
And I think it's just taken time
Mhm.
to learn and grow and mature in this relationship, that it's not about whether they need you for support, or, like, I do my thing, she does her thing, but we need each other because we are connected in a
Yeah.
different way. It's that's the relationship.
Yeah.
It's and then that's what the love is, and the connection is, like, yeah, if she wasn't around, I'd survive. If I wasn't around, she'd survive. But because we have each other, it just makes us a better team, where we can support each other in the endeavors that we do. And that's, I think, is key. And so I do need her. When she goes on she's on a couple day trip with business, for the next couple of days. So, and I'm gonna miss her. And
But it's not 7 years.
yeah, right, right. It's not 7 years.
It's like a couple days. I
Right.
love it.
So I thought, I was thinking, God, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is going to work out. But the thing is that I was not looking at it in the proper perspective.
Mhm.
I was, worried about, things that should not have been anything to worry about in regards to relationship. She married me for a reason. I married her for a reason. There was this connection there, and that intangible is something that has nothing to do with the tangibles.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So cool. I want to jump back into retirement a little bit, just
Sure.
because when I think of uh, retirement, and I don't know, your quality of life just dies. I think when you just retire and you don't do anything. I mean, retired has to mean just doing something you love to do, right? It's not just, I guess when I think of it for like corporate people, maybe they've been doing this rat race all the time. But for like artist type people like ourselves, we're like,
Yeah.
no, this is what the joy of life is. I mean, what's your thought on, like my dad's 87 now. I mean, I guess he's retired now, but I, I, I can't even take the car keys away from him, right? He just went and bought him a new Lexus. I'm like, Dad, yeah, no. There's just your body isn't working the way it used to. The reaction time isn't there. But he just got married again. His not my mom, but he got married after my mom, and then she passed away about 3 years ago. And then the lady that he just married, her husband passed away about 3 years ago, and
Uh,
the funeral director said, "You guys are too lonely showing up at this cemetery all the time. You guys need to get together and talk." So she put them together, and they just have, I mean, my dad has somebody to talk to every day now.
Yeah.
They go do stuff, they
Yeah.
drive around. They're both 87 years old, and they're probably going to live another 15 years. I mean, the way that they're going. But it's like, we have to have something to do, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
sitting down watching television,
Yeah.
not that you're not in the entertainment industry and it's important to,
Which is funny because I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. I don't have satellite. Eileen bought Roku, so
uh,
maybe once in a while I'll fire that up and watch. You know, I'm not even I'm watching like the Carol Burnett show
okay.
or
So
old
you're watching all the stuff we
Carson
watched as a kid.
episodes.
Yeah.
Like stuff that's so retro old. But it's like, what? It just kind of, it's nostalgic. It's
Mhm.
nostalgic. But you're right. The way I define retirement is, when I say I'm retired, all that means is that I'm now collecting on my retirement. That's all it
There
means.
you go.
It
There
has
we go.
nothing to do with what you're doing in your quality of life. It's like, I'm not going to stop doing what I do, but now, hey, I got some money coming in. Cool. That's
Yeah.
it. That's
That's
it.
wow. Yeah, it's funny you say Carol Burnett. I've been watching the $6 Million Man. I'm like,
Oh, that was my favorite show growing up, man. I love that show.
yeah. So it's on Peacock or whatever it is, because we got the streaming Peacock service, and I'm like, oh, yeah, $6 Million Man. I got to watch all, and I'm remembering some of those episodes from when I was a little kid, and like some of
Yeah.
my favorite ones. And then, there's like
So
the
how
little.
does it, I mean, when you see something when you're a kid and then you watch it when you're an adult, sometimes you're like, oh my God, I watched this. This is the most awful thing I've ever seen. But then there are other shows where, like, wow, this really was a great show. So how was it for you? Or
So
how?
yeah, so when you think about this, I mean, obviously CGI and computer graphics did not exist in 1972 or whatever, 75 or whatever it is. So the things seem pretty faked. I mean, like the sounds that they made when he
Oh,
jumps
sure.
up. Ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
that just sounds pretty silly. But yeah, the storyline is really good. What I realized, not as an adult, that I didn't realize as a kid, every single episode has some type of aircraft in it. He's either on a plane, flying a plane lands somewhere, plane gets wrecked. So I'm thinking like the producers or the writers of it must have been into aeronautics in a big way, because they're, what does that have to do? There's not an episode that I've seen that doesn't have some kind of. Well, I guess there's a couple where he's because he's an astronaut, so he flew to
Oh,
space, and then his
okay.
bionics didn't work in space. Uh, but yeah, no, it's still a good storyline, and I'm enjoying watching them. So I guess that's a telltale that it's not just
Yeah.
so silly. My wife's watching Little House on the Prairie. I can't
Okay.
I can't do Little House on the Prairie. Where
Yeah,
like,
I never got into that.
yeah, I'm like, oh no, I can't. That's the women's part of it. And then I tried to watch The Bionic Woman a little bit, but that seems hokey more than and he's way
A little
worse.
bit. Yeah.
But yeah, the little bolts and stuff that are in his arm when he flips up his skin, none of that looks too real. But yeah, it's a really good show to watch as we go through. I think when I was last time we talked, I had written one book, and I'm like, I gotta get over to you to get some audio, to do the audio on it. And now I've written four and working on my fifth book, and
Nice.
none of them have audio. And I wonder, even tonight, if we did the talk, just like how much more when somebody puts audio on their book, does it enhance the book? And then the second part of that question, I guess, is how much better is it for the author to actually be the person who's reading it?
Yeah, those are great questions. First of all, the audiobook world, and it continues. It's been doing this for the last 7 or 10 years, at least, growing and expanding, growing and expanding. Sales, um, ebook sales have been out, or I should, let me rephrase that. Audiobook sales have surpassed ebook revenue.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that gap continues to widen. Not that people don't buy ebooks or, the
Yeah.
other formats, paperback, hardcover, and all, and they're great, and I do, that's fine. But people now, they go for the audiobook. So, hey, are you on Audible? And they ask for brand name. Are you on Audible? So being in the market and as an author, as your author brand, as having that as one of your products is really a smart move, a business move, to have that option. Um, Now, I'm a big advocate for, especially for nonfiction authors, narrating their own audiobook. Though fiction authors can as well, and it all depends on how the story is, because ultimately you're telling a story,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
You don't need to go, oh, this character has to have this accent, or this character has to be this and this, and I've got to do crazy voiceover. No, not really. I just worked on a book not too long ago. Actually, the author, she has 3 books. We're doing all 3 of her books. And the first book we did was a fiction story. It was science fiction. It had time travel, and there was this pandemic, and it was, there's all this stuff that's going on. But you know what? She told the story. And it's like, again, sitting around the campfire and somebody sharing a story, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, didn't matter. It was the content that really made it a great experience.
Yeah.
And the beauty about authors, or really anybody narrating your own audiobook, is you're well, a couple of things. First of all, you're leaving your legacy in
Mm.
your own voice for people to discover and hear you tell your story the way it's meant to be heard. And the second thing is, nobody can tell your story better than you. You
Mm.
wrote it, you lived it, you breathed it, you experienced it,
Yeah.
and not to knock professional narrators, because they're great. However, from a technical standpoint, they're going to sound fantastic. But from an emotional standpoint, you know,
Okay.
did they live that journey? No. So there's
Mhm.
going to be subtleties, nuances,
Yeah.
emotions, energy, all those things that you as the author are the only one that's going to be able to bring that forward. And that's the thing. And it's coming from the source. It's not like, oh, somebody, an historian wrote or did an audiobook about this person. No, you're getting it from the source. It's coming from the source. For example, a couple of books that they talked about, the authors talked about their cancer journey and overcoming
Mhm.
cancer. Well, a narrator who has never gone through that journey is not really going to be able to connect to that. And
Yeah.
even if they did, everybody's experience is unique.
Yeah.
You know, you can't beat that. You really can't. And you
Yeah.
and you don't have to force it. Your emotion, your energy, who you are, just comes through if you just you step back and you just ground yourself and you just tell your story. That's when your true authenticity comes out. And that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that because all my books are nonfiction, but I always have one of my stories at the beginning of every chapter of all 3 of my books, and the fourth one too, fifth one too. And so, yeah, without me telling that story, and in my, I'm like, one of my books talks about where one time I went down to what is it called? It was one of the Caribbean islands, St. Martin. So I went down to St. Martin. And I'm
Okay.
talking in the book about overcoming and it's the there's no tiger, and we're talking about there is no tiger in your life, and I start talking about how everything was going wrong. The limo was supposed to pick us up, and my team that was in LA to get us to the airport. One of my team members didn't have their passport and their birth certificate. We get to the hotel and they don't have our room reservations,
Oh,
and
geez.
all these things that are going wrong. And then the guy from the concierge guy, because I'm kind of yelling at the lady at the counter, and he comes, "What's wrong with you, man?" And I say, yeah, I tell him all these things are going wrong, and he goes, "Here's what I know, man. On the island, there are no problems, just inconveniences. It's not like there's a tiger going to eat you." And at that point, I'm like, all right. Yeah, all these, it doesn't matter. We're on this beautiful island. We're able to do all
Yeah.
these things. And so, but I don't know if somebody else could tell that story like I tell. I mean, I got a longer version of that, obviously,
Right.
but like
No,
you just,
nobody can. It's your story. It's your experience.
yeah,
And that's the other thing too. I know we've talked about this before, about authors or people just saying, "Oh, I hate how I sound. I hate my voice. No one's going to want to listen to me," and this and that and the other. It's like, no, you don't understand how valuable and important and crucial your voice, how you sound, is a crucial component of what makes you you. That's
yeah,
your author brand. And
yeah,
and and you telling your story, like, there's not going to be another Dr. Brian out there who's going to, number one, be able to tell the story, and number two, it's your voice. I want to hear your voice tell your story. I don't want to hear some other narrators tell it, because
yeah,
I'm missing the energy. I'm missing the authenticity from it.
yeah. So now on the technical side of getting it done, like do I have to come down to Sedona and record it in your studio, or is it like you send? How does that all work? Because I've tried to just talk it like this is. I just don't. Obviously, I don't know what I'm doing, and and then I go, okay, so I absolutely need a coach and help. And it's so silly that people don't think that they can go do stuff. I talk about this all the time, like for podcasting, like
Yeah.
most people, 90% of people who start a podcast never do more than 10 episodes. And you go, why did you stop?
Yeah.
And they say, well, because I wasn't very good. I'm like, have you ever been good at anything 10 tries? Like you can't even tie your shoes 10 times and be good at it. So how do you think you're going to start a podcast and be good at it after 10 times? And then these people who try to do their books and try to read it and try to figure it all and get on some kind of software that does it. No, go find somebody who can help you and do it right, so it sounds right. And so how does that whole process actually work?
Yeah, and the audiobook coaching program that I teach, it's called Your Book, Your Voice. I have two versions of it. The VIP version is obviously the most important, or not important, popular, I should say, version of it. There's a do-it-yourself, a DIY version, and that's for people who love, who love to get in there and do their own editing and all that. And again, it's very time consuming. So that's one thing to take into consideration when you're doing your audiobook. But for the VIPs, I send them professional equipment. I send them, professional microphone, headphones, $400+ worth of gear. It's yours to keep, part of the program. Show you how to set up your own recording space. We talk about file management, labeling your files so you know what they are, so you don't lose them. And then I walk them through step by step. How do you set up your account to be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple? You got to go through ACX. That alone can be a challenge for a lot of authors. And a lot of authors get to that point and then they're just like, it's too hard. I'm not going to do it. But no, you got to do it. You really do. Or if you want to be on other distribution platforms, I help them there as well. I use Authors Republic because I find that to be more user friendly than Findaway Voices. But you get distributed on 30, 40, whatever, 50 other distribution platforms. You want to be on Google or Spotify or Rakuten or Tubi or Deezer or wherever else, libraries. You can. So I walk with them step by step how to do all that. So setup and preparation is the first phase. The next phase of course is, how do I do this? How do I do a great narration?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you talk about this with people that you work with as well. And it's like, guess what? Number one lesson, first lesson is mindset. Number one.
Yes. Yeah.
You got to be in the right frame of mind before you hit that record button. And part of that is, we do talk about confidence, building your confidence, loving your voice, embracing this wonderful sound that comes out of your body. Love it and embrace it, because that's what allows you to stand out in the crowd. If I hear your voice, I know it's you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
So when you record, you're recording it in pieces. It's not like you got to sit there with your book and read 20 chapters in one sitting, because now you're not going to be able to do it. It's not going to sound good. So you just do it a section at a time, and we go over it and I listen to it, and when the thing about what I do is, it's not, you don't just send it to me. I do editing and we're done. When I edit, I listen to everything in real time. And that's why I spend 80, 100+ hours per audiobook just with editing. That's not even coaching. That's just editing, because I listen for everything. If there's a mouth noise I can remove and it bothers me, I'm taking it out, But here's the thing. There's some companies, just send us your audiobook. We'll clean it up and get it to spec and we're done in a couple hours. Now, to me, that's a red flag, because that tells me you're not listening to it. You're running it through some program or AI or something. What if there's a slurred word? What if there's a mispronunciation? What if there's a gap between sentences that's way too long or something way too short? If you're not listening to it in real time and catching these little subtle things, you're going to miss it. And that's not good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, just you think of the difference in the care, and then being able to hear something that's crisp. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up AI and what's happening with AI. And I get almost every week I get somebody saying that they're going to do my book using an AI voice, or we can make the voice sound like your voice.
Yep.
And no.
I agree with you 100%. Now, there are companies out there that you send them voice samples or will make it sound like you. But here's the thing: it is still computer generated, and any AI voice, even if it kind of sounds like you, is soulless. You have just
Mhm.
ripped the life out of that
Yeah,
performance. It is
yeah,
not, then that's what's missing. The soul, the heart, the human experience. That is the intangible, those subtleties. When we talked about energy and emotion and sincerity and authenticity, you tell me an AI voice has your authenticity and sincerity. No, it's not. It's not going to have it. It is soulless. There is no soul. And people pick up on that. They may not know why, but something's not going to feel right.
something's not right. Yeah, yeah. When you think of in this age, I mean, when you think of if it's always about the money and always about the
Yeah,
revenue, and you put your heart and soul into writing a book, and then you go, okay, well, somebody else is going to take that, or just put it into AI and let the AI read it. To me, it just seems like we've lost some of it, and I guess that goes into the
yeah,
whole argument of all the creativity, creative folks that are out there, and what's happening with art, what's happening with music, what's
yeah,
happening with all the can AI. I don't believe AI can ever be so good that you can't tell. Or
yeah.
I mean, are you thinking it is going to be, or what's your thought on AI as being a person who makes a living, in this
Well,
space?
you can get it to sound like you or me or whoever, but
Mm-hmm.
again, there's it's
Still so.
lifeless. There's no
Yeah.
soul. There's no soul. And here's the other thing, like when you about music, because right, everybody is like, oh, I'll go to Suno or what are these other you know apps that all create music. Well, a couple of things. First of all, you're not a musician. You're a
Mhm.
computer programmer. All right.
Yeah.
There's no there, where is your heart and soul? Are you going to go on tour now? I want to see you play. I want to see you perform these songs.
Yeah.
You can't because you don't know how to play an instrument. Oh, so you're a computer programmer. Okay. I get it. And here's the thing with AI music. You're only going to it will get to just a certain level, I would say, but and people are just going to get tired of it. And this is something I heard this on a podcast the other day. Someone who's in the music business, they said, you know what? There are people now who are becoming more and more just no, I'm sick of AI. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of everything being so perfect. I want to hear the imperfections. I
Yeah.
want to hear the mistakes because that tells me that's human.
Yeah.
And if I want to go out and and I love this song and it's by this artist who's a real musician, I am going to pay money to go see them perform because they move me emotionally. AI is not going to do that.
Yeah. I am. I have a, like, when I do speaking, I go speaking engagements and stuff, and so you're always thinking of that perfect walkout song that
Right.
you walk out to that is playing. And so I had an actual musician artist. I worked through the lyrics and I worked through the special things that were me. But then she used AI to kind of do some of the voices and stuff, and it saved me a lot of money. And I was going to I'm going to play you a little bit of it. I mean, I really like the song. It doesn't have the soul in it, but I'm only using it for 30 or 40 seconds or whatever. I mean, I'm not,
Right.
I'm not, it's not trying, because I'm thinking like if I had to have a live person or have, how much would it cost? But I did, because we're having this conversation. And I want you to kind of just see, get your thoughts on it. So let me see,
Sure.
how do I share this? Let's do share screen, and then put entire screen, and then put audio. I'll go here. All right. And then I had another guy put a video together for me that just put the clips and stuff that are not me. But let me go ahead and play it real quick, and I'll go maybe a minute worth. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Dr. B in the building. We becoming the person now. Let's go. woke up with a purpose, sunlight on my face. The God who made the universe still knows me by my name. Every step is kingdom, every breath is grace. I do not rush the process, I just run in my own lane. 2 ears, 1 mouth, so I listen first. Hurting people hurt people, so I speak the healing words. I am a coach, a friend, a brother, a guide, helping people break the limits that were living inside. You have to be the one before you do the thing. Identity before assignment, that is how freedom sings. Every story is sacred, every life unique, and they do not care what you know until they know you are listening. I am becoming the person God made me to be. Stepping in the calling, walking wild and free. From the podcast to the people, I pray for every day. Purpose in my heartbeat, purpose in my name. I am becoming the person, becoming the person. The journey is where my freedom stays. From Mile High.
So I'll just stop there, but then there we go. I mean, you moved you instead of the video. Yeah, so I mean, I put the lyrics we put the lyrics together. She helped me. She's a musician, which I was surprised that an actual person musician, I'm sorry, musician, there we go, was willing to use the combination of AI and then her own skills of, what is a bridge? I have no idea what none of that is.
Right.
What goes together and how to do. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's kind of like a hybrid, but the actual singer is not real.
Right. The thing with AI that people should understand is that it is a tool, and it's a tool to utilize to enhance something that you're already doing in a sense, at least when it comes to music or even business. So I'll go and I'll, whether it's Chat GPT or whatever, and maybe I'll put in a prompt and I want to see what comes up. And let's say I'm going to do my podcast, and I'm going to I want to go down the 10 biggest pain points for authors to not narrate their own audiobook. Let's see what it says, right? So it's going to come up with a variety of things. But here's the thing. Remember, it's a tool. It's like doing Google search. You take that information and you make it your own. I'm not going to regurgitate verbatim what it tells me. And I may not even agree with a lot of the things that it does, because, AI is not 100% reliable, which we all know. But using it as a tool can be helpful. But if you're using it to replace it because you want to cut corners and you don't want to, then that's the mistake. So like if an author says, I'm just going to get an AI voice to do it. Well, first of all, I believe ACX still has the policy in play. And I believe even Authors Republic does, is that they do not accept AI generated voices.
Oh, really? Okay.
Supposedly. I mean, though I do know somebody who had his voice cloned, and I'm not sure if he is on Audible at all, but he might have just put it on his own website. But that was a policy of theirs, and I think it's still in effect. But the thing is like, don't cut corners. You wrote your book, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into it, and why wouldn't you do the same thing for your audiobook? It's still one of your formats. It's a piece of your arsenal of products. You want it to represent you the best that it could possibly represent you. And remember, your voice is already it's in the written word. It's already there. You just get it to life.
Yeah. No, I hear you. No, I want to do. I truly want to read my book, and I want to be the audio voice that people hear in my book. Whether it's my tonality or whatever it is, I don't want the AI to do it. It's just interesting, and that's something that I'm not as passionate about. I mean, I want my song to, I can walk out and get people happy and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't as important to me as something that I spent hours and hours and hours to do, and so.
Right. You're utilizing it as a tool. You got a speaking gig. You have this, a piece of music that you use to walk out there. It's great. It's supporting, what you're doing. You're using this, as a tool. the people in the audience, it's not like you're going to a concert, so there's not
Yeah,
gonna
no, I'm not performing it.
be, yeah, exactly. So there's no concern of like, oh, that's
You're
AI.
not real.
Yeah, right. It's something to support
The
what
thing
you're
I'm
doing.
doing. Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh my gosh. Well, is there anything that you wanted? This has been a great conversation. I love every time I get a chance to talk to you. And but is there anything that you wanted to make sure that you wanted to say about something today that we didn't get a chance to, or anything like that? So I so appreciate you.
Well, Dr. Brian, I might have said this the last time that we had spoken, but I just say this: just be your true, authentic self.
Mm,
Be yourself. Be your true, authentic self, because that's what shines. That
mhm,
that is what, and that's what makes you you, and that's what makes you so unique. Don't try to be like somebody else. Don't try to act like somebody else. Don't try to sound like somebody else. Just be
mhm.
you.
Yeah.
Love who you are. Love what you do. Appreciate the things that you have around. I love when you were in Jamaica. That's such a beautiful thing. It's just an inconvenience.
Yeah. There's no problems.
There's no
Only
problem.
inconveniences.
I
Everybody
love
knew
that.
now. There's no such a problem.
That's it's such a great thing, and it's a great way to look at life, because you know what? You're gonna not feel so stressed and
Hmm.
anxious if
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you know what? And even as an entrepreneur, okay, here's not a problem, but here's a situation. Here's an inconvenience. What do I need to do to fix the situation? And you
Hmm.
and you come up with ways to fix it, just like with any business. So,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So true. How can people get a hold of you if they want to, that have watched this? And I mean, it's been so cool to hear about your family and to hear about your wife. And the fun part about it is just having to have a conversation. I think that's when I think about relationship, and I think about folks that we spend time with. Somebody told me um, a statistic that said that 90% of the people that you interact with, you will not interact with 5 years from now.
uh,
I think that's so sad. And then I'm going through
mm,
my, I have, I don't know, 4,000, you know, contacts in my phone from over the
mm,
years, the last 20, 25 years. And I'm looking like, nope, I don't have a contact. Nope, I don't have a contact. Nope. And I'm like, I haven't spoken to them. And one guy was telling me, I was having a conversation with somebody today. He said, you know what, you should just have where just randomly pick somebody to reach out to, because I don't want to lose. I mean, there's some
yeah,
really cool people that are part of my world now
yeah,
that I don't want to lose contact with it, because relationships are so important. And the more that
yeah,
AI shows up, and the more that we spend time on our computers, and the more time we spend, we just lose these connections.
yeah,
And I want to find ways. I have this what do you call it? A community called Becoming the Person Universe that helps people become the person
yeah.
they want. And I want you to do some talking on it as well with some of the things you do. But how do we continue to make sure our connections are there, and we're
You
not
know,
just
it's just it takes a little bit of effort. The
Mhm,
thing that I say when I end a podcast or a coffee chat or whatever I do a live, I always say this. I say, when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, give them
mhm.
a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. Right? We walk around, we wear these masks, everything is great, but you know
Mhm.
what? Maybe somebody's having a bad day, or maybe it's a lot deeply rooted than that. And just by that small gesture of kindness, you're spreading positivity and you're spreading love. And you know what? How hard is it just to go to look at your Facebook contacts and say, I haven't heard from this person in a long time, and you just send them a message.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I mean, I tell people all the time that you're probably an answer to somebody's prayer. Somebody's praying for connection. Somebody's praying for
Mhm.
somebody to walk through. And if you're just attentive to the world and walking around, like you said, put a smile.
Yeah,
Somebody could be having a bad day and saying, God, just show me a sign that everything is okay,
yeah,
or whatever it is, whatever they're saying. And then all of a sudden you show up in their checkout line and you smile at them and you give them a wink or something, and their whole day changes, their whole continence changes because you were there. And if we
yeah,
walk around that way, and we're as if we are helping other folks, and then we just don't, like you said, look through Facebook, look through all your contacts. There was a reason you had a relationship with them 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
right.
and because you did that, what's the problem with just sitting, thinking about you, appreciate you, whatever it is.
Yeah.
what a difference we make in the world if we'll be willing to do that and not just getting so inside ourselves. I just hate the fact that people use AI so they can have more time to use AI. It's like, no, if it's freeing up time,
Yeah.
sit in your backyard and look at the stars and everything from Sedona or wherever you're at.
The human connection is so important. And even when, I get contacted by authors that say, hey, tell me about your audiobook coaching program. Great. I always schedule a call. And it's not just like this business call. It's because it's the first step of establishing a relationship, even if it's a business relationship. I want to make sure that this author resonates with me and I resonate with them, and that we have a good, solid business connection, because we're going to be working with each other on a one-on-one basis for the next few weeks, creating an incredible product.
Yeah.
So having that conversation is really important. It's not about getting that hard sale, right? I'm going to close the deal. And you know what? If it happens, it was meant to happen. But if it doesn't, that's okay.
So cool. Well, Robert, thank you for being on my show again and being willing to talk. And you're not getting rid of me. I'm going to keep showing up. I will get these books done. You will be the person who helps me get them done. And so I just can't wait to have that relationship and that things with you. And just let your wife know how much I enjoyed her through your eyes, and what a special time that we had. And so this is your.
I'll tell her. And and you mentioned you can go to robertlanecoaching.com to get in touch with me.
Robert Lane Coaching.
That's simple. Yeah.
Perfect. robertlanecoaching.com is the website to go to if you are an author and you have put the book together. You want Robert to be one of the people that are working on it. The skill set that he has is just phenomenal. And if this is your first podcast that you've seen with us and you haven't, joined us, go ahead and subscribe. Thursday nights, we usually have other people who come on and talk to us a little bit. Tonight, it was just Robert and I so appreciate that as well. So thank you again. You guys have an amazing, awesome, just incredible day. And we will see you next week on the next one. Thank you, Robert. Talk to you soon.